Okay. Okay. I think I get it now. I understand what happened. Okay, so when you set those deals up with Medvedev, and then all that thing, all that stuff went down, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, Barack Obama got really, really snarky. He got really gnarly, and the National Security Administration got really severe about how they were not honoring their commitments around non-proliferation, and they had to decommission the warheads, and they were not dealing appropriately with the disposal of chemical and biological weapons, and they were supposed to renew the MOU, but they decided they were not going to renew the MOU, which means that they're absolutely in defiance and non-compliant. Sanctions, 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 sanctions! You wouldn't believe it. It's the time for sanctions, and sanctions, and sanctions, and sanctions. And that means that all of those investments and obligations that were made by Russia into the United States, including and specifically through California, were not done in a correct manner, and they were not honored in the appropriate time frame. Default, 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 default! You know what that means? It means Medvedev's in default, man. Oh shit. So, who's gonna back him up? Well, you sanctioned them, and then you started excoriating anybody that was like a supporter or that was engaged in some sort of pact or alliance with them. And it was like, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then you get all those things going on with Deutsche Bank, especially Deutsche Bank. Somehow Deutsche Bank is like the world's most evil empire, like doing this like run around go between all of those terrible, horrible, monstrous things Russia's doing. Deserves those very, very significant, virulent sanctions. Or who are they going to go to? Oh, I see. So they had to bring back Putin. I see. So who leans on who? Hmm? Did the debt get put on Medvedev and so he has to lean on Putin? Or is Putin considered to be the first defaulter of what is understood to be the desired, anticipated, expected, and accepted performance of obligations by Mother Russia? And so when she doesn't perform like she's supposed to, you have to lean on who? See, if you could get this correct, we might be able to get this whole thing with the Roth IRA stuff you set up with me and that lady from Chicago as part of the Strategic Petroleum Drawdown figured out. So maybe we could stop this. Well, you're the Jew. No, you're the Jew. No, I'm the Jew. You're not the Jew. And then I could be like, Irish this. We need your Irish. Why aren't you being Irish? Why aren't you being Irish? And then we can figure that out, right? Because you really don't want the IRA, man. Come on. You don't want the IRA. Right? You don't want the IRA any more than you want Hyman Roth. Right? It's easy to talk about it when it's on Hollywood, but when it comes to actually having to pay for it, like the social cost you bear when you're working with or you're focused on those kind of guys, and then you gotta bust them, and then you gotta actually go to court, and you actually gotta prosecute them, and you actually gotta put them away without cutting deals, and you actually gotta make sure the president does his job instead of just ratcheting up this huge, huge, huge bill while he's in office so that on his way out he has to give you all those pardons, and he has to give the country the debt associated with all those pardons so he can run those people he pardoned as his own personal credit card and then nobody pays the taxes on it. So because nobody pays the taxes on it, we don't actually have any income coming into Congress. So we got to figure out some nice fancy foreign accounts we can seize through some sort of sanction. But meanwhile, because we got this like open market crap that nobody really wants to talk about, then all of those people we end up sanctioning and leaning on end up trying to buy shares and stakes and like fucking local muni bonds. So you got all these guys running around playing like they're somebody they're really not. And you're trying to tell me that there's a first lien when the truth of the matter is the whole damn thing was fraud to begin with, so it should never have even happened. So you don't have to worry about the lien because the original deal was actually totally fucking bunk. And yeah, I know justice is slow. I mean, look at that. If you get your car towed, man, I don't know what to say. Hopefully your daughter doesn't get the boot. I mean, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at with this, right? I see. Well, see, here's the problem: is my deal with Houston, right? Was about muni fraud. It was muni fraud involving Austin. And you know what that means now? Department of Defense, baby! Yeah. See, it wasn't supposed to be that. And 4 years ago, it wasn't that. But every fucking time you pull this shit, what you do is you attempt to hustle me to defraud the DOD. Every fucking time. So I don't give a shit if you're leaning on Putin or if you're leaning on Medvedev. or any of his tongstresses running around the United States pretending like they're cowboys and cowgirls in office. Every fucking time. Every fucking video. Every bid you put on a contract. Every fucking stock transfer you do through my videos. Every fucking time you tamper with evidence. Every time you try to lean on me as part of threatening other people. Every time you defraud the requirements associated with your role in addressing the green energy paradigm. Every time you try to lower the maturity levels so you can try to justify some sort of tax break. Every time, man. You're ripping it off from the DOD, and that is not only a national security problem, but if you're insisting on maintaining bonds this old because you've already intentionally defrauded and defaulted on them, that is to the letter of the law sedition. Every fucking time. Right? I've already disclosed. I've already declared. All you're doing is wasting water. Right? That's all you're doing is wasting water. Now, have we figured out what the paradigm is? Right? Have we figured that out yet? Are you going to get your shit together and finally find somebody that's going to stop making excuses for keeping pinging their girl on their fucking phone? Because we're not supposed to be dealing with girls here, guys. Right? They're supposed to be in school.